Civil rights leaders say they walked away disappointed from a meeting with Facebook's top executives, Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg. And one of those civil rights leaders, the NAACP's Derek Johnson, took part in that meeting, and he joins us here this morning. Derek, good to see you. Just first off, why was yesterday's meeting characterized as frustrated and disappointed by a lot of you folks?
Well, after 2 years of having conversation with the top leadership at Facebook, including Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg, we walked away with the very same thing we walked into the discussion with: nothing. We provided them with the 10 things we think is fair, doable to ensure that our society is safe and our democracy is protected. And we got on the call. We provided that list 3 weeks ago. They asked for the meeting. We joined the meeting only to get on the call for them wanted to rehash the things that's on the list, as opposed to discuss progress being made or given timelines of when they will make the necessary adjustments.
Derek, as you talk to Facebook executives, one of the key things in the audit out this morning was that I think they acknowledge they have a culture problem. When you talk to Mark Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, do you feel as though the internal culture at Facebook is not where it needs to be and needs significant improvement?
Absolutely. I raised that question yesterday. They have a huge blind spot when it comes to hate groups and the real sentiments of Americans across the country. If you look at the peaceful protests across the country, it looks like America. You have young, you have old, male, female, black, white. That's the reality that Americans want to see on platforms such as Facebook. It is operating like a public utility. There are no accountability metrics in place. One person make all the decisions, and you have a culture within the company that have huge blind spots when it comes to race issues and anti-Semitic behavior.
Jared Blickery here. It seems like Facebook is just for the first time really getting hit in their pocketbook as advertising dollars are pulled. What's the catalyst then? If they're not listening if they're not listening now, what's it going to take for them to listen in the future and really kind of come around and finally affect change?
Here's the problem we have. We have a company where shareholders cannot hold them accountable because one person owns 60% of the stock, a company where the board of directors cannot hold them accountable. The ad dollar revenue, although effective with this campaign, it makes up about less than 10% of their total revenue. There's no federal or state regulatory infrastructure in place to hold them accountable. They have become such a behemoth of a company that there are no competitors. And so we have a problem on our hand. Either they decide to be good corporate citizens to keep communities safe and protect our democracy, or we're looking at a sovereign nation within our nation.
Derek, Mark Zuckerberg told reportedly an internal meeting that he believes the advertisers will come back over time. And you've been able to amass hundreds of advertisers here in this boycott, some outright boycotting, some just saying they're pausing their advertising on the site, including our parent company, Verizon. Other big names like Hershey's and Coca-Cola. What's the next step? I mean, do you try to broaden this boycott and get more companies involved? What's the end game?
Well, for the NAACP, we have to keep pushing. We have been around for 110 years. Our mission is to fight against discrimination. When you have a platform that allows not only discrimination to exist, but for a meetup for racial hate groups to go and cause harm, we have to keep pushing. Even if we have to enlarge the boycott, extend the timeline, we're going to continue to push against this platform because it poses a real danger to the American citizens.
Derek, I'm sure you would appreciate this. Culture for any company, especially larger companies, starts at the top. And do you ultimately think it would behoove Facebook that Mark Zuckerberg moves into a chairman role, get a new CEO in there, and start fixing the culture of this company? Because you might need fresh eyes to do that.
Well, I'm not in a position to tell them how to run their business. I can say the way they're running their business is causing harm to the American public, and something needs to change. And how they change it should be more immediate and not a gradual step. In 2 years, we have seen very little. They make gradual steps. They're more interested in dialogues than outcome. This is a company that have both the wherewithal and the ability to make huge changes, not only within their culture, but how people use the tool that they have set up for everyone.
Derek, did they offer any kind of a timeline for any of the 10 points that you say you and other civil rights groups leaders brought before Facebook?
That was the most frustrating part of the conversation. Jonathan Greenblatt, head of Anti-Defamation League. He pressed on timeline. There was none offered. Rashad Robinson pressed on, what are you going to do? I've been talking to you for a long time. Nothing was offered. Jessica Gonzalez, she pressed for some concession that we have a problem. Nothing was offered. And I simply said that, the way you are having this conversation is if you're doing everything correct. If you believe that's the case, then we're wasting our time at this meeting.
Give us one thing, one concrete thing that you want Facebook to do tomorrow to help change things here.
Eliminate the politician exception. Take the content policing out of the policy shop. You got to have a separation of church and state. You cannot have the determination whether or not content is hateful or appropriate based in your DC policy shop as you cater to this administration.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.